that she was certain she was ready for such an all-important venture yet. First, she hoped to find out the truth about herself, and if, as she suspected, she might be related to the Collins family. Otherwise, why had Elizabeth sought her out and invited her to come to Collinsport? There had to be some link between her being invited there and the monthly check sent to the orphanage for her expenses over a period of many years. The check had been mailed from Bangor, only 30-odd miles from Collinsport. Yet Elizabeth had been stubbornly silent whenever Victoria questioned her, and she had learned nothing new from any of the others. Burke Devlin, the mystery man of Collinsport, who had returned wealthy after an absence of years, had become more friendly with Victoria lately. They had enjoyed many talks together, and she found him a fascinating, enigmatic man. The fact that he was a bit older and strictly devoted to his worldwide business interests, which he conducted from his suite in the Collinsport Inn, made it possible for her to enjoy his friendship without making Ernest jealous. And when she had looked to him for help one evening as they sat enjoying a late evening coffee in the lunchroom of the hotel restaurant, he had smiled at her across the table. "Why not leave well enough alone, Victoria?" he asked, a hint of wistfulness on his gravely handsome face. "You don't understand what it means to me," she'd told him. "How can I go on without ever discovering the truth about my identity? How can I marry, have children of my own, without being able to tell them who their grandparents were?" Her lovely dark hair almost touched her shoulders, framing her thin but intelligently beautiful face. There was a sad gleam in Burke Devlin's eyes. "Has it ever occurred to you that there are questions which are often better unanswered? Surely you know the story of Pandora's box." "But to know who one is, that's a basic need," she insisted, looking down and toying with her half-empty coffee cup. "It's a tormenting question, I'll admit," Burke Devlin agreed. "But life is full of such questions for many of us," he said, "because I prefer to keep my life, business, and private strictly to myself. I'm accused of all manner of things, and I'm surely causing the wagging tongues of the town excruciating pain." She looked up at him with a smile. "It's not a good comparison." "All right," he said. "But remember, there are other people living with unanswered questions besides yourself. I, for one, and Elizabeth for another. Don't you think she is tormented by the mystery of what happened to her husband, who left her nearly 20 years ago?" "Naturally," Victoria had agreed solemnly. "And look what it has done to her. Ruined her life. Made her a recluse. She hasn't gone outside Cullen's house since that night her husband disappeared. It's a wonder she hasn't gone insane." Burke Devlin sighed. "Elizabeth is too strong a person for that. The family and the family business would have collapsed long ago if it wasn't for her." "I'm not as strong as Elizabeth," Victoria protested. "Well, I think you have much more character than you give yourself credit for," Burke Devlin said, "and one day you may prove it, even to your own satisfaction." This conversation had taken place in June, a month before the events that centered her attention on the hidden room. But she would remember Burke's words many times in the period of her greatest crisis, and they would serve to help sustain her. But at that time, it was all still to happen, and she had much to learn. The letter came on a sunny afternoon in early July. Because David Collins was away for the summer at a boys' camp, and Carolyn Stoddard was away working in a tourist gift shop at Bar Harbor, and living there with a girlfriend, Victoria found herself alone at Cullen's house with Elizabeth and Roger. So she met the postman on the steps of the brown old mansion and got the mail. There were a half-dozen letters and some magazines. As she turned to go in, she scanned the letters quickly to see if there was one for her in Ernest's familiar hand. There was none. With a small sigh, she went back inside to the shaded hallway. Roger Collins was coming down the stairs. He usually had left for the office by this time, but